Welcome all. It is Wellbeing Wednesday, and I wanted to come to you today to really talk about what I learnt as part of the Jubilee celebrations that happened recently. And it's particularly around the experiences that our daughter Lily took away with her from the amazing Jubilee celebrations, which was a 4-day or weekend extravaganza, versus the experiences that we really took away that were forefront of our mind. And this month of June is PTSD, National PTSD Awareness Month, and I thought I would really talk about this. And it wasn't a PTSD situation, but it could have easily have been the one that I'm going to talk about now. And we can easily dismiss the impact that certain events have on our children because we are looking at the experiences through the eyes of an adult. And it's really easy to gloss over how a child views an experience because we're not seeing it through their eyes. So we took our daughter Lily away for the Jubilee celebrations in London, and we left on Wednesday night. We got there quite late into an apartment that we had rented, and she was really excited. We had a fantastic train journey, and then on the Thursday we went down to the mall, got there early, and saw the fantastic military parade that came up and down the mall as part of the Queen's celebrations and Trooping of the Colour. And it was just a phenomenal experience for us, and we had a wonderful day. And then on Friday, which was the second day of the celebrations, we decided to go for a lovely tour around London, and we went for a walk through to Horse Guards to look at where everybody was getting ready for the fantastic pageant that was happening on the Sunday. And then we walked down to Big Ben, and we saw Big Ben, and Lily has this lovely jigsaw puzzle at home of London, and we brought the event, what she could physically see to life, because Big Ben is now fully uncovered. So it was lovely to see that in all its splendour. And down we went to the London Eye, and we played in a park down there, and then across the river and over to Trafalgar Square. And she had a lovely time climbing up onto the lions that in Trafalgar Square, and up and onto the big statue that's there, Nelson's Column. And then we walked ourselves back and had a lovely evening. And then on Saturday, we decided that we'd take a bit of a break because we wouldn't be able to get to the celebrations in the evening, the party at the palace, so to speak. So we decided we'd go to the Natural History Museum. So we walked across Hyde Park, had a lovely view of the park, across to the Natural History Museum, went to see Dippy the dinosaur, who was there. And together a lovely dinosaur toy. And as part of that experience, she had the opportunity to see the other dinosaurs, and she saw the T-Rex animatronics, which she found a little bit scary. And I was holding her at the time. She didn't like it, and we whizzed around that very quickly. And then when we were coming down from looking at the world experiences of earthquakes and stuff about the planet from the top floor, I said to my husband, you take Lily down the stairs, because I've been taking Lily everywhere, and I'll take the elevator with the pushchair. And down the elevator I went for a very long time, took forever to get down, and in the interim they went down the stairs and into the dinosaur restaurant, which Lily was interested in going in. But there was some animatronic dinosaurs at the front of the restaurant, and it really scared her. We didn't think anything of it. We carried on our day, got a lovely Dippy the dinosaur toy, And then on the Sunday, we went and saw the amazing pageant, and she didn't want to miss anything. And it was all about seeing Wallace and Gromit and Shaun the sheep and the Gruffalo on one of the procession trailers, amongst a lovely dragon that was being moved by people, and she really loved it. And we came home via a taxi which she'd never been in, and on the train, and we came home, and we were all completely exhausted, and we had a really great time. And the next day she went to nursery. My husband took her to nursery, and they said, "Oh, what did you do on the weekend? What did you enjoy? What do you remember seeing?" And she said, "I saw a T-Rex. I didn't like the T-Rex. He was really scary. I was really scared of the dinosaurs." And it really took us by surprise, because we'd had a whole 4-day experience of really enjoyable things. And actually, the first memory recall that she had from the whole 4-day experience was something that was quite traumatic for her. And that was seeing the dinosaurs in the Natural History Museum, the animatronic dinosaurs. And it really just brought to light to me how important it is to allow our children to express their fears and talk about them in a safe way, and to be cognizant of the fact that some things that we as adults may not perceive as being fearful can really activate our children's amygdala, which is our fight or flight part of our brain, and really get deeply encoded in their brain as a traumatic experience, whether you view that as a mini trauma or a macro trauma or whatever you want to view it as. But it can have a huge impact on our kids. And if we don't take the time to really connect with them and ask them how they're feeling, ask them what they enjoyed, what do they remember about their experiences, and are cognitively aware but also emotionally aware of how they're feeling, then we can really miss traumas that get encoded in their mind at a really young age and be oblivious to them. And trauma is like a tree. So when we experience a trauma, it's like planting the seed in a ground. And when we're young, like my daughter Lily's 3.5, she's not aware that the seed has been planted. She doesn't have that cognitive awareness and understanding of what trauma really is. It just gets encoded in her head. And then what happens when it's planted really young, because we don't appreciate it's a trauma, is we start looking for things that are similar, and we encode it as being a similar event to that initial trauma. And so we respond in the way that we chose to respond on the initial event, typically. And then as we start seeing similar events, and we don't perhaps have the intervention by an adult to say, "I understand that you're scared, and I'm sorry you felt that way, but this dinosaur is nothing to be scared of. You don't need to be scared of him, because mummy will protect you or daddy will protect you. It's okay. He's not dangerous. He's just a puppet." And say it in a way that's really going to support them. If we don't take the time to do that, and if we use language, and I know that we all need to improve on the language that we use for children, because we can be very dismissive of the emotions that they experience, and try and downplay them, but actually they're inside they are encoded as a very valid emotion that is something that they need to address and they need to take action for. If we don't do that, then that trauma tree starts to take root, and the seed and the roots of the tree start to get strong, and that tree grows and grows and grows. So it's really important that, especially given the events that have happened recently in the States with the shootings in a Texas school, that we give our children that permission to feel whatever they are feeling, and allow them to express their emotions, allow them to feel, and then offer them ways in which they can effectively manage their emotions in a way that is going to serve them going forward rather than hurt them. And that's a real skill and a real art, and it is difficult for children because of the fact that their brains are still developing, their brains are still growing, and they don't have that emotional regulation in place in young brains to really support them. So the earlier we can equip them with the tools that they need, the earlier we have those conversations, the earlier we create that safe space for children to express their emotions in a constructive way, the better those children will fare over the long term, and the more we can minimize the risk of a trauma, whether that's one in which, you know, our daughter Lily had, which was, you know, being scared of a dinosaur, and it wasn't real, but it was still real for her in terms of the fear factor. The more we can do that, the more we can reduce the risk of children developing post-traumatic stress disorder around that event, or a series of events that build into an experience. And it is hard these days for kids to protect them from events, from whether it's physical events where they witness it firsthand, like Lily did, or whether it's vicarious trauma where they witness it secondhand through the news or social media. It's hard now to protect our children because they're exposed to so much information that we weren't exposed to as kids ourselves. We didn't have that accessibility to so much information that our children do today. So it's a real uphill struggle for not only parents but carers and school teachers. And I'm just reflecting on, you know, how much of an impact childhood trauma can have. Is it can show up. I was talking to my mum today. It can show up when you are 70, 80 years old, if it's not properly addressed at the time, if it's not properly resolved. It's so important that we don't downplay the experiences that our children have, the emotions that they have as a wrapper around their experiences, and that we really equip them with the tools that they need to support them in their emotional regulation and their recognition as to what is truly a fight or flight response need versus something that we've actually imposed on them that doesn't need to be imposed. I hope this serves you. I think it's such an important topic, particularly given the environment we're in today, particularly given the massive change that children and adults have experienced as a result of the pandemic, and the changes in our lifestyle and the surroundings that we've been exposed to, and particularly given the increased accessibility that children have to social media that can influence them and cause them to experience trauma that we may even be unsighted to, because we are not constantly on social media overseeing it with them, and it's very easy for them to have trauma encoded in their mind without you even realizing it. So it's really important in this day and age for us to have those open, honest, safe conversations about how children are feeling, What is causing them to feel that way? What happened? Get curious about their emotions, not furious. Try not to be judgmental about their emotions, because every emotion is valid. And I like to think of emotions as energy in motion. They're a signal for us to do something, either to move towards something, or they're a signal for us to move away from something. And so once we get to understand those emotions, then we have the opportunity to influence the direction of travel we take, and that then influences the direction of travel in our brain's evolution as well as our direction of travel in life. I hope this serves you. If you want to find out more about how you can help your child in managing their emotions, then please connect with me. You can see the banner on this now below. Just visit ruthmaryallen.com and go to /connect to connect with me, or go to the Wellbeing Warrior Academy.com to find out more about the programs that we offer for you, your children, your family, and your organisation, to really empower you to take charge of your well-being, be the boss, and learn how to optimise your unique brain so that you can really unleash your full potential. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Happy Wellbeing Wednesday.